What up, everybody? Welcome back. It's a beautiful day out today, and I was gonna go to the gym. I just got off work. I was gonna go to the gym, and it's like 70 degrees outside and like 5:30, 5:45. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna open the garage door and just try and enjoy the weather because it's gonna get nasty this weekend. So piss on it. I'm here. I just gotta show you this old truck. I love this old truck. Backed it out and just had her out here running. The old 4.8 in this thing sounds so good. It's sad because this is gonna go, the 4.8's gonna go in Dad's Dart. That's what's getting this. Turbo kit and stuff staying in the truck. The Dart is getting something entirely different, which we'll get to that on a later video. But the cam and stuff that's in this 4.8's pretty choppy, and the one that's in the new 5.3 that's going in this probably won't sound as good. Hopefully it'll run just as good. It's gonna be a 5.3 with a little bit different cam, but this thing just sitting there idling and like chopping around, it sounds pretty good. That actually has the sloppy stage 2 like brown box special, because I got it off eBay and it's not actually a sloppy stage 2, it's some China knockoff of it. But sounds good, works good. I mean, truck got a 9 in it, or not necessarily a 9 but a 6, what around like 630, which is basically like a 990. But anyways, I just love this old truck. I got a package in the mail just a few minutes ago, and I'm gonna have to clean up my workbench here. Shout out to South Bay, sent us some new injectors. I use South Bay in everything. A huge South Bay banner. All my cars have South Bays. Boost Knuckle, Civic, the Ranger had South Bays, the Mustang's getting South Bays, my dad's car's getting South Bays. I run them in literally everything. So a huge shout out to those guys. I got injectors in for this today. A little short, stubby. I ordered one set for them, which were actually longer than these. These are like the short, stubby LS3 injector, 1000 cc's. I actually ordered taller ones for this intake that's going on the Dart, and they wouldn't have worked because these stands. And these came in today. I've actually bought these for the Boost Knuckles new engine, and the other ones I have are a little bit taller. So good things these came with the really short stubby ones, because they're a perfect fit for this rail setup on this intake. So got some stuff for the budget car, or the budget Civic. Got a couple retainer kits, or got something in the mail today for the budget car, and got a steel retainer kit, and I'll show you why I had to order this. I'm gonna go grab the cylinder head real quick and I'll show you. Got the cylinder head. It's all done. It is fresh. It's got the valve job nice and clean. Everything looks good. Got it resurfaced. It's fresh. This is a stock port head GSR. So when I had this, or whenever I took it to them to have it built, I had a set of steel retainers. I couldn't remember what they for. I knew they were for a Honda, but I assumed they were for just like a GSR or something. But it turns out whenever they assembled it, he had told me, he's like, man, he's like, the valve tip's really low in this retainer. If I remember right, now that I think about it, this was actually for one of my old LS cylinder heads. So it's got the wrong retainers in it, which is why I bought these. This Brian Crower BC 2011 kit. There you go. Well, it's funny too because it says B18A, B17. So I mean, hell, I might get these on there, and it might be, which I don't know how that's true, because the B18A and the B18B will use a 6mm valve stem. So the lock and the, you know, the way the lock sits on the valve tip, it'll actually set up taller. So hopefully I can swap these out with these, and then hopefully we'll have the tip sitting up above it, because obviously the rocker's going to hit the retainer, and that's no bueno. And then with that being that way, there's going to be very little seat pressure on that spring, because its install height's not going to be right. So I'm going to grab this tool real quick and we'll see what we got. Alright, so I bought this little PQY kit off eBay. I don't even remember what this thing cost. It wasn't very much. I'll try and go back and pull up my ad where I bought it and then I'll put the price, and actually I'll even throw the link to it down in the description to show you. But this will be good for those guys that at home trying to change valve springs and such on these B series heads. But I haven't used one of these like this before, but from the looks of it, I assume you're gonna end up bolting this thing down, possibly, which now that I'm looking at that bolt, maybe, no, it has to be like that. So maybe I just need a longer bolt, because these little bolts with these washers won't sit down and grab the threads. There it will without the washers. Yeah, so maybe do it like this without the washers, or we can get a longer bolt. We shouldn't need the washers for anything, honestly. Stock springs, they don't have that much pressure on them. These are the basically just like the old school Type R dual spring kit. It's basically like, I think it's all the intake side on like a GSR have dual springs, and the exhaust has a which this is backwards. This is the exhaust here, and this is the intake. But you know what I mean. But on the GSR, I believe all the intake springs are dual and the exhausts are single. So back in the day, to be cheap, we would just take another set of intake springs and throw them on the exhaust side, and then you had like a little Type R valve spring kit. But from the looks of it, this is gonna thread down in here like so. Hope I don't like that. That bolt is entirely too short, and I think I just stripped that thread. All right, so I've got these studded. Dang it, and of course I want to show you this. One thing I do is, so this head has been disassembled, machined and everything, so everything's nice and lubed up. So anytime I try and depress this, it pushes the valve down. So I put a piece of rag up in there. That way when I push down on it, it keeps the valve up and just pushes the retainer down. So I'll show you how that works. All right, so we're gonna slide this in here, get it set down on top of there, thread this down so it sits inside that little pocket there on top of that retainer there, that thing there. And now that we got that rag in there and we tighten this up, the valve shouldn't move. It might move a little bit, but it won't move as much as not having it in there. Yeah, you can see it moved a little bit, but not much. So we'll go down with it. Get the old trusty magnet out here. Try and get these keepers out. And back this up, and then we can swap it out. The swapping it out part's the tricky part, trying to get it back in without dropping the keepers and stuff. So it's a pretty handy little tool, especially for like, I think it was like 20 bucks or something cheap on eBay. I've used a handful of the PQY stuff, fuel filters in the boost knuckle, fuel filters on the Mustang, I think a couple fuel regulators and stuff, so it's not terrible. All right, one thing I like to do is I'm gonna put just a little bit of grease on the inside of this where this keeper sits in the retainer. And what that's gonna do is just kind of make it sticky so this doesn't just fall out all willy-nilly. So we'll put these in there. Seeing like I should be able to, I'm gonna do this, but yeah, see how it holds them in? They don't fall out. It's gonna be handy whenever we're trying to put this together. That way they don't fall out super easy. I was nervous I was going to do that and it was going to fall inside the head, and then that was going to really make me look stupid. Yeah, so set that back on there, run this down. One thing I will say about this is the angle of this bolt isn't really true to the angle of the valve, so it does kind of push down on the spring kind of crooked, so you have to grab a little screwdriver and kind of force the spring straight. So like I'll get in from the back side here, you'll see my screwdriver come through here maybe, but like I'll come in through the back side here and push on the back of that spring to try and straighten it out. But I'm going to tighten this down, put my finger on top of these keepers and just slowly tighten this up, and I'm pushing down on those keepers so they don't fall. Obviously I'm going to push down on the valve just a little bit, but that rag's going to keep it from going too far. Let's see if I can do this without pulling them up. But yeah, you can see right there. Yeah, I got to work on my lighting situation. Maybe I just need a better camera. But yeah, you can see right there, the retainer's still holding the keepers in just barely, but if I go any further, the keepers are going to fall out. You can see right there, they're back up in there. I'm going to try and, that back one's falling out, so I'm going to try and straighten that one up. But luckily I've got grease on them, so it makes them kind of sticky, so they don't just fall out quite as easy. Yeah, see, so like I just shoved it up on the groove of the valve there, so now I should be able to back this up. I say that I'm going to have to push on the back side of the spring to straighten the spring up. See if you can see right there, I moved it. Now I should be able to back this up, and those should drop right in that hole. Just like that. Boom. And just like that, we get all the retainers swapped out with our little eBay PQY spring compressor. So pretty cool little tool, works pretty good, especially for the money. But now we got all those changed. Do a couple other things, clean this up a little bit. I need to add a couple studs and a couple spots where they're missing, and then we can start putting this on the motor and getting this thing torqued down and trying to get this motor completely assembled.